Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. This is, as far as I'm aware, the preeminent spot for Kingdom Death. So, if you're brand new to Kingdom Death, if you just got 1.6 in, you're scared to death to open it up, and you're putting your mouth on all of the components possible, welcome. We're glad to have you here. We have been suffering alongside of you. We actually just got finished
with 3 episodes of our campaign. Those episodes are actually Patreon exclusive right now because they are a continuation of current levels that we are fighting with existing monsters. Anything new and exciting, like as we unlock each new level of a monster and as we unlock new monsters, we are putting all of those up on the main channel. But if you want some more episodes, come check us out behind the scenes.
Here's the deal. There's no way we could do a dedicated campaign if every video was here on the channel for 2 reasons. One, it takes so much time, about 8 hours per video to produce them, and secondly, the last video we put out, like the video before, a lot of people watched. We still got thousands of views. I lost like 2 subscribers. If I'm flooding the channel with 30 campaigns and we're planning on continuing the series with expansions and so on and so forth, we need your support to make it happen. So swing over there, check it out. We just got 3 more wrapped up. This is not the point of the video. We're going to talk about the top 10 essential upgrades you need for Kingdom Death.
That really just make the experience of playing so much better.
And essential is key, because I am working on another side list called 5 upgrades you absolutely do not need.
As you would know, because you've tried to upgrade and do Lexify everything.
Oh, I've put my mouth on it all. Here's the thing. Kingdom Death is one of those games that really greatly benefits from a little bit of support. And so we're going to discuss and talk about that. Let's start with 2 things that we just introduced to our campaign.
Player sheet upgrades and player guides.
The base game comes with tiny little kind of dinky style player sheets, and they work. They certainly do.
These are them.
When you think through the amount of information you can store on that sheet versus the community created one, you desperately need these sheets. Now, what you'll find is that these sheets work for the first part of the campaign.
Yep. However, these better sheets give you so much more of a story and so much more of a background and a history of what your character has done, what they have accomplished, what they have survived through. It has a lot more personality. And so as we start, we've had a lot of intimacy acts with the past couple episodes, and as we've been making babies, we're able to write down their heritage, we're able to write down their family, we're able to write down their siblings, and now, it's so much fun.
If you like the paperwork component like Shira clearly does, which is like I let her manage all of the settlement stuff, that part is really cool. The other thing just for me, though, is that they're organized a little bit better and they have mechanic elements in them, like checking your disorders, checking off severe injury boxes, and more space to put notes on things like fighting arts that allow you to not have to double check or miss rules constantly. And this is a game where you will miss a lot of rules. Now, the other supplement is actually going to be the settlement sheet as well. Kingdom Death comes with its own version, and again, once again, the version that Kingdom Death gives you...
This is Kingdom Death's version.
Yep.
2 pages.
And it's decent. It's decent.
This is the version that, I need another hand, that the community has put out. This literally has just resources and gear. A catalog of everything.
Instead of you having to write everything into its own little pamphlet, this area is going to be so much easier to track where your settlement is, how you're progressing through the game. Now again, if you're just starting... These are upgrades that you probably need by Lantern Year 5. So don't stress about it if you started on your own paper. We converted our campaign just now to these upgraded things.
I kind of wish we had started from the beginning, though, because that would have been a lot better, but...
It's still a transition, but you can find these over on BGG. I'll leave a link to where the community has developed them. It's super, super great what people have done, and they're easy. Just print 1 settlement sheet, and then print like 20 survivor sheets, and that'll be enough to get you up and running.
You won't have any more than 20 survivors.
Some people know how to do the game well.
Okay.
Some people. The other thing that's going to be a big supplement is going to be the ability to follow the rules. Kingdom Death is an easy game in some regards, and also a game that has so many corners, sides, and nitpicks. And the community has developed a fantastic way to do that.
It has a lot of intricacies, and so the community has actually put together these player aid sheets. So this one is a copy of most of the terminology that's in the back of the book. It's a little handy-dandy, easy. We just stapled ours. This actually goes through a lot of the information you need for the showdown.
Yep.
So it tells you the attacking, it explains what the stats are on all the weapons,
Yep.
and it tells you what happens with knockdown, with the survivors, tells you what happens with knockdown with monsters, collision, all of these, and survival rules. Like, it is really helpful during the hunt. Then it also goes through in depth what happens during the settlement phase, and it tells you the hunt phase. It goes through it all.
I've put in hundreds of hours into Kingdom Death, and still, I don't have the type of brain that remembers every side condition every time. We find ourselves checking the rules, looking for reference guides, and having something on hand that's easy and quick to grab keeps the gameplay flow going.
As nice as this book is,
yeah.
It's also really annoying to grab out in the middle of a gameplay. This is a table hog.
Yeah. So we've talked about some of the things that will give you structural advantage to playing the game. Let's talk about the other big conversation here, organization when it comes to the actual game experience. And one of the biggest things that the community's discovered early on is going to be a binder and things called card sleeves. So I don't have a top shot here, but these are card sleeves or coin sleeves. They're similar to what you might have had when you were collecting Pokemon cards, except these are designed specifically to be a square by square grid. Now, why does that matter? Well, there's an option in Kingdom Death to sleeve every single one of your gear cards, but that becomes a nuisance. You're supposed to reorganize it in the box, bring them out every time you want to shop, and if you look at the board right now, imagine having all of these floating around.
Oh my gosh, I'd go insane.
It would be almost impossible to play. A binder with a set of coin sleeves allows you to organize everything by class, by region.
And it tells you also where the locations are. So you can have everything for the Bonesmith all in one page. And then also, so if you were archiving weapons and returning weapons, then you know where to put them back as well.
So,
in conjunction
the other
with that,
thing is Kingdom Death wants you to play the game with floaty little black player boards and your gear grid organized on that. Again, this is a table hog. This is a mess. This is a puzzle to play. Guess what? Do a little bit of snip and trim on the coin sleeves.
And it fits perfectly on this gear grid, and it also organizes them. You're always able to see when the colors match up and give you extra powers and abilities.
You're able to move them around, toss them back and forth, slot things in, and guess what? You can save your game. What a big advantage.
It is so much easier to save. And you have the setup already, so then when you're bringing out new characters but applying your same gear grid to them, you just hand them and you put them on new characters and update their stats. It's so much easier.
The other thing that we should bring up in the terms of ease of play in the conversation is going to be card sleeves. Card sleeves, in my opinion, are an essential upgrade for Kingdom Death because the AI deck, your monster deck, your resources deck, everything you're playing with requires constant shuffling. It's one of those games where some games that don't require constant shuffling, you don't necessarily need it. But for me, the wear and tear, the ridge on the cards, especially things like the White Lion fight that you'll go through hour after hour after hour.
Being able to go like this and not worry about anything mid-game is...
It's not about protecting the cards for me. It's about that.
It's so much easier to shuffle, and it's a pretty accurate shuffle.
So the card sizes are going to be...
57.15 by 88.9.
Now, that's, I believe, American Standard, and there's a lot of different card options out there. You may have to go to a local retailer, or you may have to place a kind of bulk order. I know there's a site called Sleeve My Game that allows you to order bulk from stores. I'll do my best to provide links down below, but if you look for card sleeves that are...
57.15 by 88.9.
Or somewhere within that range or variation.
Basically 57 by 89.
The card sleeves that I have used are going to be 100 thick or super deluxe, I believe Ultra Pro cards.
80 to 100 is generally. 40 is the thinnest, 60 is average. 80 to 100 kind of starts expanding you have to get a deluxified storage solution.
Yep. Let's talk about the other two big things when it comes to this element. First off are going to be little rubber rings for the bottom of your meeples.
And when you're at that, grab a spare set. Then you can keep a color matching your character on their sheet so you know which character is which and you're not constantly having to go back and forth.
Now, the models we have here, people ask about them all the time. These are actually metal models. They're bronze.
So nice.
They're very nice. These are in the deluxified elements that you absolutely don't need. But the rubber bases are from Stonemaier Games. They actually go for Scythe. Now, there's other games that have these options as well. You're looking for just silicone rubber bases. Why are these nice? Well, they fit your model perfectly. Along with that, when you first get the game, you're probably going to build all your base models and not have time to paint them before you start playing. That's what the game book encourages you to do. That's fantastic. That's fine. but it is sometimes very hard to track who is playing who's playing what model, especially when you start building new models and floating around the board. This solves the problem for me. I attach one to my player board, I attach one to my character, and you can even flip them over and back and forth if you want to indicate and have a way to track who's gone, who hasn't gone, so on and so forth. Because I believe...
I disagree with you that the metal components are not necessary. I think these metal things are so nice.
They're not. They're completely unnecessary. So, either way, silicone bases, I'll leave a link if I can find where I bought these from so that people can pick those up as well. The next thing is going to be token organizers and trays. There is a deluxified version of this that I have left in Kentucky in my wooden box that I'll show off later on. You don't necessarily need that, but there is a link that I'll leave below to a Etsy shop that does a 3D printed ring allowing you to organize every one of your tokens. That allows you to grab them, organize them. One of the things we have to do...
There are so many tokens, and when you have temporary stat increases, you want to just put a token on and take a token off as they apply and become unapplicable versus actually changing your character sheets.
Well, that's not entirely true. If it says to add a modifier, you don't get a token. If it says to grab a token, because some things interact with tokens specifically. Either way, that's a whole nother conversation.
I still like tokens.
That's a whole nother conversation. What I'm encouraging you to do, though, is make sure you grab a few, at least, small containers. They could be wooden bowls. These could be little Tupperware pieces. These could even be nice game trays organizers, whatever you personally use. But you're going to want things like Bleed, for instance, or some of your Endeavor tokens to at least have a contained spot to live, because you are going to need to grab them. And if you have to go hunting, like we do from time to time, it is going to become more of an issue to find what you're looking for, which slows down the game and bogs down your play experience. The next thing, I'm checking a look here to make sure I'm checking off everything I need. Let's just talk about something very simple. Ease of life, ease of experience.
Pencils and erasers?
I mean, it's a basic upgrade, but it doesn't come in the game box.
So I just got us a special eraser because you are constantly erasing your sheets and erasers on pencils start to get worn. Additionally, Jesse likes these pencils because when you press on them, they don't press too hard and you are rewriting and writing and rewriting and erasing throughout the entire game.
You do not want to use pens.
Yes, never pens.
You want a good quality eraser so that you're not destroying your paper as you write and erase. And I like these pencils because I like the aesthetic of them, but like you said, I like these because they encourage me to write lightly. Mm-hmm. Any mechanical pencil that has a good, mid-density lead in it is going to be a good option for you. And you should do your best to have a few of them on hand.
Yeah.
This is one thing you don't want to have to be looking for a pencil sharpener or running around or scrounging for other things. Buy a package, put them in your box, leave them. So, the last two things we have. The game comes with a set of basic dice.
However, you do not want to be passing dice back and forth between the entire game.
If you're playing 2, 3, or 4 people, it's really lovely to have your own set.
You're going to be constantly rolling dice throughout the game, whether you're rolling for events, whether you're rolling for attacking.
And not just rolling dice, Shira. Some of those dice need to go to dice jail.
Some of those dice just roll too many ones. Yes, I don't like the gold set, and I don't like the colorful set that Jesse uses. I like my typical black set. I don't know why I even have a gold one over here. I like my black set. And you just need more than one set. Otherwise, you're going to be passing it around the table, and this way you can keep your set in front of you and just be rolling. At times, you have to roll for all 4 of your survivors.
Now, Kingdom Death has on their store page usually some type of seasonal dice available in various colors and SKUs. Encourage your game group to pick up their own set if they have colors they like.
Blue sets?
Encourage your game group to pick up... Oh, winter just happened. Oh, no.
Blue sets.
We're going to be getting a blue set, apparently. Encourage your game group to pick up a set depending on what they like and want to play with, but really, at least 2 sets around the table is going to improve your gaming experience. Yeah. Don't do what I've done, though. If you buy every set Kingdom Death has ever made at the cost of like $28 per dice set, you're looking at hundreds
of Kingdom Death dice
spent on dice. The margins on dice are insane, too. Kingdom Death's probably making more on a single box of dice than they're making on the core game.
Probably.
I'd be curious to see those numbers.
Don't buy every set. You need 1 or 2 more sets.
I guarantee Kingdom Death is making more on 2 sets of dice than they are on a single core game. With shipping the way it is now, there's no way. Alright, let's keep moving through. The last thing that I want to talk about is going to be something that bridges on the gap of do you need it, do you not? I'm going to say eventually you will, especially as you keep growing your love for the hobby and the game. The insert that comes in Kingdom Death's core box flat out sucks.
Okay.
It just does. It has Plastic trays, sometimes they break. It's one of those, like, I don't know, pressure printed plastic trays. It gives you space to organize things, but not organize things well or cohesively. And along with that, the biggest thing, in my opinion, that it does bad is it makes it so that your top loader, your organizing cards, actually bend when you put the board down on top of it. So, I think that
Are you going to try and tip it and show them?
No, I think that an insert is worthwhile. It helps you get everything onto the table in a contained spot. If we didn't have these inserts, we would have to play with the box itself sitting somewhere accessible.
And that box is massive.
Now, inserts can be expensive, and there's a lot of good options out there. I usually go to Etsy and find something that I think looks like it's going to solve my needs. There's custom gearboxes even for the expansions that help you fit it all back into the core box or something adjacent. I don't think this is necessary immediately, but I do encourage people, especially as they start getting into it, if you have the liquid, to buy it. And if you're buying Kingdom Death, you might. If you have the capacity to buy a good insert, it is going to improve your game experience, and if you're reselling down the road, I think out of everything, inserts will hold their value. You can tell someone, look, I spent $400 on the base game, $420 now, spent $80 on the insert, I'm willing to sell it for $450, $480, even $500. If you haven't destroyed or painted the models or anything like that, there's a good chance it'll hold its value. The last thing... What were you going to say?
I was going to say, really, upgrading anything that eases your play experience will make it more likely that you'll get this to the table more often. As everything adds onto itself and catapults into a better play experience, it is so much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
What were you about to add?
The last thing that I'm going to mention is actually a solution that I came up with myself that isn't necessary to me anymore because I don't have the original box. But in the original box, these pieces here, these cards are too tall for the rest of the cards. So these are your organizing cards. They give you the name, the title, and allow you to slot everything in.
Right, so that you can see the name.
So that you can see the name. Your basic cards stack just like this, right? In the regular box, you'll find that the player board, the book or anything, does this to them.
Yeah.
It lays flat and pushes them down. All of them end up curved, distorted, and looking terrible. Take a pack of top loaders. These are going to be heavy baseball-style card sleeves. These are just thick plastic. Cut the ends of them off so that they slot in the same size as your regular sleeves, and they become perfect ridged, plastic liners.
That's really nice.
What this does is in the base box, I have to figure out where that goes into that. In the base box, it creates a layer where your game board can actually sit on top of all the sleeves without ruining everything below. Yeah. It actually creates a really nice flat surface, and it gives you more leverage over twisting and pulling and shifting things in your game box. And worrying about
damaging it all.
You're able to move these back and forth and really get a look at stuff. The other thing that I do, just as a side note, because I'm trying to be as helpful as possible with this video, in my card box, because we're always bringing cards out of the box and back into the box, and cards slide and fall and shift, I have two little self-made rigid foam holders and just a block of foam.
Oh, that's so cute. You made them rigid.
Yeah. What these do for you is, for me, I'm able to manipulate these in my box however I want to keep cards from sliding or collapsing or shifting. Yeah. So as I take out a deck to go on a hunt, I might slot this in because it's the same size as a regular deck, and it keeps everything else stable. So that's the overview. Those are the essential upgrades for Kingdom Death, and I genuinely think those upgrades, if you add them to your table, will increase your likelihood to play this game substantially.
Yeah, that's what I agree.
And then we're going to get into the upgrades that you absolutely don't need, which will probably include ridiculous things like a custom wooden box, metal miniatures.
No, metal miniatures are necessary.
And an entire...
He's so clanky.
And an entire game table.
For Kingdom Death?
For upgrades you absolutely don't need.
You need a game table.
I mean, leave it underneath and just close it up.
Tabletopper.
Whatever the case, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If you are a fan of Kingdom Death, you made it to the end, go throw $1 at us on Patreon. We're the only channel still,
producing regular content
on KDM.
We have a campaign currently going, and when our settlement dies, we will be diving into expansions.
We have big plans. Both of us enjoy it, and both of us are having fun getting it at the table. We couldn't do it without some support from the community. And finally, if you have upgrades of your own that you enjoy, leave them down below. There's, I'm sure, a lot of things that I still haven't figured out about this game that I adore.
Look at his maw.
All right. Enough about the maws. We'll see you later.